The alleged mastermind of young Dolph's murder was just found not guilty. So we're going to explain in this video what the circumstances were that led to a not guilty verdict. We're also going to explain the possibility of CMG and Yo Gotti potentially being charged in the future. We're also going to break down why a not guilty verdict was the worst possible option for this dude, because being in jail and being incarcerated is a whole lot safer than him being a free man.
State of Tennessee versus Hernandez-Govan, count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant, Hernandez-Govan, not guilty in count 2 of the indictment. Ma'am,
Court's in session.
ma'am, Ms. Johnson, is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for your service this week.
This trial was never about guilty or not guilty. We knew the answer to that going into this trial. The question was, can you prove he's guilty? Do you have enough to prove he's guilty? And when you look at exactly how this young Dolph murder was set up, they was very strategic. They were not on the phones discussing this. They weren't discussing this through text messages. This was literally, hey, bro, come to the spot. We got a bag on his head. The message went out in the streets, and they weren't tapping in or checking up with nobody, bro. If you collect the bag, you collect the bag. But we not tapping in with nobody to make sure a murder take place. And that's exactly how this took place. So there was no paper trail. There was no communication trail to lock in Hernandez-Govan. All you really had was the testimony from the actual shooters and the killers, which when you put somebody who committed a murder on the stand, their credibility is always going to be called into question. All right, now seeing Hernandez-Govan give us those crocodile tears, to me was something to watch, right? It was something to behold, bruh. People are sociopaths, homie. After the not guilty verdict, this man looked that camera in his eyes, and he was cosplaying a father of 4 who ain't never committed a crime in his life. Look how cold Hernandez-Govan played it after the not guilty verdict.
I just want to say thank you to my attorneys, Manny, Robert, Haley, Beth, Handel, my private investigators, everybody for helping me. I didn't have the resources to necessarily, cover everything, and Manny still helped me, and he knew I was innocent. Everybody around me knew I was innocent. I just want to say thank you to the jurors for getting this right and getting my life back.
And that's the main thing. What was it like during the trial? At what point did you think, hey, wait a minute, I think I have a chance?
Well, I knew I had a chance from the beginning because I knew in my heart I was innocent. And so, there was times during the trial, of course, you get some frustrations and stuff here and there, but overall, I knew my innocence would prevail.
What I realized, especially watching this trial or even watching a law and crime interview, Hernandez-Govan, I realized that a lot of us know a lot more about this case than even like the professionals. Like us who've been covering or watching this case or been in the weeds of this for about 4 to 5 years now, we understand this trial at a level that I don't even feel like the professionals understand. Like, for example, they gave the motivating factor. They attributed Hernandez-Govan motivating factor to be involved in this young Dolph murder to, he wanted the bag, or, he was connected to CMG for music opportunities. Yeah, that's it. But no, like Hernandez-Govan considered J Money and D Money like his nephews. That was the number one motivating factor, but it wasn't brought up in court. Hernandez-Govan is over at J Money and D Money's mama house eating gumbo. They've been like neighbors for years. J Money, obviously, we know, was a rapper from Memphis. He was popping. He was with Chief Keef. He was rolling around, but he was also like Young Dolph's mentee, Young Dolph's right hand. J Money and Young Dolph was really close up until his death. Now, when J Money passed away, Young Dolph became a CEO, and Young Dolph was forced to do business with people who ain't really get along with J Money folks, right? Or D Money, J Money's little brother, or Chula Mafia. Dolph signed Big Unk. Big Unk was supposedly responsible for the death of D Money, J Money's little brother. So when young Dolph signed Big Unk, D Money's mama is all on Facebook, all on Twitter, cussing out young Dolph. The streets is talking, songs is being made, calling young Dolph flawed. And that's when Chula Mafia turned against young Dolph. And that's when Chula Mafia had their own motivating factor to take out young Dolph. They weren't just riding around hunting for CMG. No, they were riding around hunting for themselves as well. So when we understand this case at a micro level, that I don't even feel like investigators or detectives understood this case.
I'm sorry if you already answered, but when you heard those 5 words, you are free to go. Just that reaction.
You want to know how I felt?
Absolutely.
It's hard to explain the feeling of knowing you got your life back. And it's one of the best feelings I ever experienced. And I'm just happy to be free.
How much of a weight is this, lifted off of your shoulders after hearing not guilty, not guilty?
It's a huge weight, I was fighting more so for my son. I have an autistic son, so that's what my fight was mainly for.
I can't believe it, man. All that ratting we did the last 4 years, and he still beat it? God damn. Now, let's go over to a courtroom reporter who's been following this case just as long as probably I've been following this case, and he breaks down and he explains exactly what he thinks the contributing factors were that led to this not guilty verdict.
The longer that the jury deliberates, the better it is for your client. Mm-hmm. They're discussing certain things, but this was a very limited amount of information, very limited jury verdict form that they had to consider, essentially 3 charges, all wrapped around the same thing. So it wasn't a lot of complexity there. It was really about, did they believe the state's main witness, or did they not believe it? And that's what it came down to.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like in a case like this, there's not that much physical evidence to deal with at all, right?
That's correct.
The state was never alleging that Govan was the man who pulled the trigger.
Right.
So his argument is, why are you believing what?
Correct. The entire case is credibility of what he says, Cornelia says, as opposed to, well, we don't have to say anything as the defense, but do you believe the state's main witness? A young man who has a lot to gain or lose based upon his testimony, and not just this trial, but prior trials, who's facing the same charges, who was actually admitted to be the gunman, the one with the most powerful weapon. And so when you deal with that, and then a lack of true evidence, no concrete text messages to show, yes, we got him, or this is the plan, or we're here, nothing, no content.
They even admitted in court that Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith, the 2 killers, that they had no contact with Hernandez Govan for weeks before they went and killed young Dolph, because there was no conversation needed to be had. The bag was put up. We got 100,000 on Dolph. Whoever collects it first, come at us, hit us up, right? But Cornelius Smith and Justin Johnson actually contacted Big Jook after the murder before they contacted Hernandez Govan. So if we ain't talked for months before the day y'all murder young Dolph, and we ain't really talk afterwards, y'all got call logs of us going back and forth. But here's the mistake, though. Justin Johnson admitted in court that Hernandez Govan sold him pills, right? He was his drug dealer. So the calls that they were having, the back and forth, that could just be attributed to Cornelius Smith wanting pills. It was hard to really pin him down, especially when, there's no text messages or calls weeks before the murder, for weeks. And the day after murder, they ain't communicate. So to then bring him to court on evidence this week, to me, is just insane and it's crazy, bro. But he would also touch on the possibility that other people could be indicted.
The only thing that I understand that state to have produced to the jury for them to consider were, you've got multiple phone calls. And for Mr. Govan to be the admitted dealer of the state's main witness of supplying pills and all those things, that would not be a surprise if you've got multiple contacts, they live in the same neighborhood. You can't just go off of, well, I called this person a ton of times to prove a conspiracy case. That's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, so what happens now then?
Well, I think, as the state somewhat alluded to in their closing argument yesterday, and somewhat in the way of the proof through one of the law enforcement witnesses, are there additional parties who could be complicit in the conspiracy? I don't know if that's the case. We heard Mr. Mims' name mentioned a lot, but he's now deceased. So obviously nothing can come of that. It just, I think they need to take a step back and probably regroup and see if the investigation needs to go anywhere or if it just rests there. They do have at least two of the individuals, the most complicit, the actual shooters, accepting responsibility in one case and being found guilty in the other case.
Yes, do you think this makes it more or less likely that they're going to be able to go after, higher up parties?
Less likely. I mean, you would be putting the state's main witness on now for a third or fourth or fifth trial. And every single time that he goes and gets on the stand, the hope as a defense attorney is his testimony changing. And bit by bit, piece by piece, it's just like he becomes a weathered person at that point. I mean, that's a taxing thing to be on the stand, multiple trials for multiple hours at a time, and have to remember and be consistent with everything.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it was a pretty quick trial. We were to come to this conclusion within just 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Seems like the jury knew kind of what they were going to come to.
Well, I don't know if that's the case that they knew. I mean,
well,
obviously, from a human perspective,
right.
they're
They decided
told not
quickly.
exactly. I mean, it was one of those things that they probably had to go back into the jury deliberation room and say, do we believe what he said, the state's main witness? Forget what the girlfriend said for the most part. Law enforcement's testimony wasn't really helpful whatsoever. The autopsy, it was what it was. But does this young man's testimony line up? And do we have enough? And what a lot of people fail to remember is that it's not just beyond a reasonable doubt. It is beyond a reasonable doubt for a criminal case. But in our jury instructions, as Judge Johnson Mitchell read to the jury yesterday, it requires a moral certainty. And that level of certainty that you would exercise in your most important affairs, where to put a child, a sick parent, where to move, things higher than that, quite frankly, what to do about a parent who's suffering with a deliberate, just a horrible illness or sickness. Those are the levels of certainty that you have to have when convicting a person, because truthfully, you're obviously taking the person's freedom away. And the jury knows the stakes, even though they don't know the potential consequences and aren't told about the punishment options. They know the consequences. You're dealing with the most serious offense of first-degree murder.
For a trial that was only relying on testimony, on witness testimony, the witnesses that came up weren't really like that credible, bro. All right, like Cornelius Smith, he's fighting a murder. Like, he killed young Dolph. He got to say whatever he got to say to get out of this. The detective came. Hernandez Govain attorneys did a brilliant job at making that detective look like a pathological liar. And then the girlfriend came and she testified, but all she testified was, hey, I seen Cornelius Smith and Hernandez Govain link up and afterwards, but I didn't really hear what they were talking about. He just told me that Hernandez Govain had money for him. It doesn't make sense. Now, he touched on the possibility of them pursuing other people. I'll be real, man. If they ain't have enough on Hernandez Govain, they don't got enough on Yo Gotti, bro. Because Yo Gotti is a couple degrees separated from this. Now, who had the 100,000 to put up on young Dolph's head? Obviously, the head of CMG, which is Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti is the multimillionaire in a situation. Yo Gotti's brother wasn't a multimillionaire. He was doing pretty well for himself. He was the president of CMG, but the budget and 100,000 came from Yo Gotti. It had to have come from Yo Gotti, right? From my perspective, my opinion, allegedly, okay? So the bag man is just responsible for, hey, yo, I'm going to cover the 100,000. My brother going to do all the negotiating, all the recruiting. Yo Gotti probably ain't never picked up a phone or talked to Cornelius, Justin Johnson, or Hernandez Govain in his life. In his life. So if you ain't have enough to charge or arrest Big Jook, you ain't have enough to convict Hernandez Govain, you ain't got enough to charge or damn near get a conviction for Yo Gotti. Forget about it, bruh. Now, Hernandez Govan's lawyer, when he was asked after the not guilty verdict, he also brought up the fact that, yo, go after the real people. Go after the people who is capable of coming up with $100,000 to put on somebody's head. Those people is CMG and Yo Gotti. Yo, don't come after my client because he's like the easy person to pick off because you think that he don't got no resources. And honestly, I feel like that was also a contributing factor, man, is the jury kind of seen themselves in like her Dennis Govain, right? They seen, man, he's like he's like the poorest one in the group, man. You feel me? He ain't Yo Gotti. He don't got $1 million. You feel me? Like, he don't got no 100,000 to put up. Where the people at that y'all are accusing of putting up the 100,000? Y'all mentioned CMG and Big Jook and Yo Gotti multiple times during the case. Well, where they at? Why y'all picking on the lower man?
In the whole case.
I think you get in bed with dogs, you get fleas, and
If we can use money,
that should have been done all the way through. If I could find all the holes in the case after 4 years of police investigations, you darn well know they could have. And I frankly think they shaded things, did whatever they had to do politically to make this a case, and they didn't actually go after the real perpetrators.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I'm good, thanks.
If I'm Hernandez Govain, not only am I not staying in Memphis, bro, I'm not even staying in the United States, homie. Y'all gonna have to find me in Jamaica or something, bro. Young Dolph and PRE, they have shown they have a unique, elite ability when it comes to sliding. They get busy. They gonna get their man, homie. Bro, they got Big Jook. Yo, think about all the people connected to this case that we know of, bro. Right? Yo, I can go down a laundry list of Trula Mafia and CMG affiliates that done died since Young Dolph done passed away. CEO Teasy, he came up in court. He was trying to introduce straight drop to CMG, trying to get them signed. He was also one of the middlemen in this case. He got killed. Big Jig got killed. Yo, if Hernandez Govain feels like he'll be able to stay safe in Memphis, he's out of his mind. Because now he ain't on house arrest no more. Because if you guys remember, when he was like giving bond or bail, they told him, hey, bruh, you can't leave the house. Because we fear if you leave the house, you gonna get killed. We want you back in court. That was one of the stipulations. He couldn't leave the crib. Bro, he tried to get like a work release. They denied it. They said, bro, you going to die if you go outside. So if he stays in Memphis, man, he's in grave danger. I think is almost a done deal at this point. I don't see Hernandez Govain living a full life. But this is just the price of it, man. It's the price of the streets, bro. You feel me? Yo, you do wrong gonna come back to you, man. But I'm praying for his safety. I'm praying for the safety of everyone. We don't condone violence on this channel. But y'all let me know in the comment section, man. What do you guys think, man? Y'all think Hernandez Govain is really not guilty? Let me know, okay? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen to find out why Adam22 is in a lot of danger. Click on this video right here to find out why this gang member just threatened to do something very bad to Adam when he gets out of prison. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.